How do you pass a medical to become a pilot? Oh, they're going to make you squat 400 and deadlift 450 and then do some curls for the girls. Hey, showing up the guns because she's trying to have a little fun. Let's talk about that thing. Let go! Boom! If you've watched all the videos on this channel, all 100 videos telling you everything that you need to know for you to become a pilot. You know that I'm a strong advocate that there's two things you need to do in the very beginning. One, the very first thing is you need to do a discovery flight immediately so you can determine whether or not and discover is aviation something that you want to do with your life at any particular level, whether it's for fun or whether it's more than fun or career or whatever you're trying to do. You need to determine that. And the best way to determine that is for you to go on that discovery flight. But immediately thereafter, after you have decided and checked that box that yes, I want to do aviation as a part of my life, then the very next thing you need to do is you need to get a medical certificate. This is number 2. You do not want to delay this. We're going to talk about the reasons why you don't want to delay this and you want to do it in that second slot in the very beginning before you even start training. This is critical. This is going to help you save a lot of money. A lot of them bands going to stay in your pocket if you just listen to this video. And the very last tip at the end is the one you need to know the most. Let's get into that thing. Young guru, run it. Let go. So tip number 1, let's kind of dispel the mystique around an aviation medical exam. All the medical exam is, in layman's terms, is just a physical examination to determine whether or not you're healthy enough to fly. Nice and simple. It's not this very strenuous thing that you need to be stressed over about, but you do want to take it very, very seriously because there's a safety measure put in here for your not only your own safety, but think about the safety of your passengers or anyone that you plan on flying with throughout your aviation journey. This is why this is critical and why this is important. But all it is a physical examination. If you've ever been to any doctor, which I encourage you to go to doctors on a regular basis, whether that's semi-annually or annually, and you've had any kind of physical examination, maybe your annual physical, it's very much in line and along those same measures. There's just certain criteria that must be met for you to get the medical certificate. Tip numero dos. Medical exams have different classifications. For the private pilot level, when you're starting your training, the medical exam you're going to be looking for is a 3rd class medical. That's the examination that you're going to want. That's the examination that you're going to need to pass, your 3rd class medical. But here's some hidden tips in this video, especially for you. There are other classifications of medical examinations. There's a 1st class medical as well as 2nd. You want to determine what is your end game in aviation. Some of those other classifications are for specific roles. Particularly if you're trying to be an airline pilot, if you're trying to be a commercial pilot, you're going to be looking way beyond just the 3rd class medical. You're going to be looking at that 1st class medical. So you want to make sure that you know your end game first, because this can save you a lot of time and of course a lot of money. Let's just say you determine your end game is you want to be an airline pilot. Then why not go in from the very beginning after you finish that discovery flight? Why not go in and get a 1st class medical at the gate? That way you automatically know whether or not do you even meet the criteria for a 1st class medical in the very beginning. This is critical. You don't want to get all the way down the line in your training, getting ratings, doing things, and then only to determine when you try to get the 1st class medical, you couldn't get it. Just think about a waste of time, a waste of energy, resources, money, and everything else that you've put into this. But if you do this in the very beginning, this is why I strongly encourage the medical exam to happen. The second thing you do immediately after the discovery flight, it saves you a lot of bands. So you want to make sure that you determine what is your end game. Hey, you just want to fly for fun? You want the private pilot level? Cool. 3rd class medical. You're looking to go all the way to the airlines or whatever other thing that you're looking to do, you're going to need another class medical, which is that a 1st class or a 2nd class. So you're going to go immediately for that exam in the very beginning. At least that way you know whether or not you can even pass it. And if you can't pass it, then maybe you can do some improvements to help you pass it later. Knowing is half the battle. Tip numero 3. You want to search in your area for a FAA authorized aviation medical examiner. And something that's even better, if you can find an aviation medical examiner who's also a pilot. This can be very helpful because they'll understand the position that you're in even more so. And having a great understanding of your goals and what you're trying to do, that relatability can help you through your examiners. They talk you through a lot of the things and talk you through the process. So find an aviation medical examiner, one who's authorized by the FAA in your area. You can run that search for that thing, man. It's over 6,000 of these people in the United States alone. So you're more than likely, there's going to be one that you can find in your area. You want to lock that thing in. And here's another hidden tip just for you. You want to make sure that you also coordinate with your primary care physician. And this primary care physician that you have, your regular standard doctor that you go to on a regular basis, you can take the information that you're being given by your primary care physician and use it to kind of gauge where you are and what you need to improve on before you even go to the aviation medical examiner. So look at the aviation medical examiner as like the final boss at the top, like the level, the last level before you beat the video game. So before you even get there, what are you going to do to prepare? What are you going to do to practice? Are you just going to go in blind, not having a great understanding of what your health is like? No, you should always know exactly where you are from a health standpoint. And if you don't know, then just coordinate with your regular primary care physician, your regular doctor, and get a gauge on your physical health, everything that you're going to need before you even go to the aviation medical examiner. That way you're not going in blind and you're not understanding, oh, I hope nothing's wrong. You already know what your results are going to be before you go. This is a hidden tip to passing your medical exam. Tip number 4. When you get ready to do the examination itself, it's really only 3 major groups that they're going to be checking for. Your physical, of course, and then of course your vision and your hearing. Again, this is standard examination things that you should be having done on a regular basis. So if you're not already at that regular cadence with your primary care physician, get that thing going so you can already have data and information to feed off and improve on before, of course, getting your medical examination. So at that private pilot level, the difference between a lot of these classifications is between the 3rd, the 2nd, and the 1st is the standards that you have to meet is a lot more stricter as you go up and up. The exam itself is nothing to fear. You just want to make sure you have your health in order. Tip number 5, for the physical aspect of things, a lot of that is centered around your heart. And no, not your heart in terms of what kind of person you are you a kind-hearted person, which is that a good thing for you to be, but it's more about your physical health in your heart, having a nice normal pulse, having, of course, your blood pressure and everything under control. These are kind of like the more specific things, and I'm gonna give you a tip, something that you really want to kind of focus on when it comes to things like your blood pressure and a lot of your vital signs, so they're not just off the charts, out of the way. Things you want to get that under control and make sure you have that under control, particularly on the day of your examination. More on that a little bit later. Tip number 6 concerns your vision. Of course, they're going to check that out after they've done with the physical. They're going to get into more of the vision and seeing, of course, checking one eye. Hey, how's this eye here separately? And then look at the other eye and then read a chart from a far distance and then read that same chart or a different chart from a shorter kind of distance. Really testing your vision out. They're looking for 20/40 at least in each eye. So making sure that you're on point and having all your game there. And it can be with or without corrective lenses. So just because you may wear glasses or contacts doesn't necessarily mean that you're automatically disqualified in any sort of way. Your medical certificate will just note that, of course, needs to wear glasses or something along those lines. Those notations will be put into place there. But the main thing you want to do with the medical, don't do anything to disqualify yourself. Don't think about, your entire medical history of your life and thinking, well, oh, I'll never be able to pass a medical because of this. You want to think along the lines of that, yes, you can, and look into it, and don't do anything to disqualify yourself. That's why they have the professionals here. That's why you go into an aviation medical examiner to be able to talk these kinds of things through and understand what you can and cannot do before anything. For the vision, they may also test your ability to read numbers and colored pictures, just to making sure everything is on point there as well. Again, nothing to fear. Standard examination things that are more than likely you've already been through at some point for something in your life. When it comes to testing your hearing, in tip number 7, they're going to follow a lot of the standard procedures. Of course, wanting to make sure can you understand if someone is speaking softly or quietly in a small room at a very nice seductive tone. All they trying to see is how's your hearing and can you hear those beautiful radio calls when you get ready to make those things. If you want a review of how to be easy and smooth on those videos all throughout this page, run that thing. but it's nothing to fear there as well. And then they're also going to be looking in your ears to make sure you don't have any kind of ear disease. And this is very critical, something that may throw off your equilibrium that you may be dealing with, vertigo, or something along those lines that may make you have some sort of speech pattern that's dealing with your ears as well. If something was to become disturbed, these are the kind of key areas they're going to be looking to as well. Tip number 8 is one of the most important ones. Just because you have a pre-existing medical condition doesn't mean that you will be automatically disqualified for not being able to become a pilot. This is why I told you previously, you do not want to disqualify yourself. You want to consult with an aviation medical examiner. And here's a very good tip for you, another hidden gem just for you. Instead of setting up your medical exam and making an appointment for that and going right in blind, again, we never like to do anything blind. We always like to stay ahead of the aircraft as a pilot, stay ahead in life, plan. So when doing that, set up a consultation first. So not actually going through with the exam, just the consultation with your aviation medical examiner once you find one, and talk through your situation. We all have individual situations, so talk through your personal experience and your personal situation that you're dealing with an aviation medical examiner, and let them tell you what is possible and what isn't possible just based on the consultation. The reason why you want to do this in consultation form first, you're looking for that feedback and you're looking to get that information without taking the physical and the formal examination. Because if you take the formal examination and you fail it for any particular reason, now it's on record that you failed it, and then getting a petition, let's talk about improving it and all that kind of stuff, dealing with the FAA, that can be a little bit challenging. And it can take up a lot of time. But the more you know ahead of time and before you actually commit to that, the better you're going to be. The whole theme here is not to go in blind. Use the information that you're using from already going to your regular doctor, your primary care physician, where you know where a lot of these vital signs, you know where your numbers currently are, and then look at what you need to achieve to become and then get the medical that you're looking for. Then secondarily, setting up a consultation to talk about any specific needs that may be unique to you before actually doing the examination itself. It's all about information gathering. As much information as you can gather beforehand, just like flight planning, the better flight you're gonna have. 8. Number 9, once you get that third class medical, it is valid for 60 months if you're under the age of 40. And if you're over the age of 40, it's valid for 24 calendar months. Run it. Tip number 10, we value packed up in this thing, baby. Number 10 for the win. This one here is very important. You want to make sure on the day of your actual examination that you show up to the examination well rested, calm, and hydrated. Why would you think that these 3 things are very important for you on the day of your examination? You want to be taking care of yourself at all times. But just think about if you're not well rested, and then let's just say you're dehydrated, and maybe you're showing up because you're tired and everything, you over caffeinating, you're putting just pretty much anything in your body just to make it through the day, and you go to this examination, just think about the levels of that it can have on your vital signs and all of your measurements when they come back, what it can do to your blood pressure, your pulse, a variety of different things. You can get all these different kinds of readings, and maybe you're not even in that kind of healthy state, but it's just a matter of the fact that you haven't been resting, you're not hydrated, and you're just not calm. You got all kinds of anxiety and everything else built up. So try to be as calm as you possibly can and take care of yourself, well hydrated and well rested before going into it, so you get an accurate read on a lot of these measurements, and nothing is kind of just taking you off the charts that really isn't who you are, but it's just the state that you're in at that given time. Everybody knows that medical exams can be, unique to people. It can make some people very nervous and can maybe have your measurements coming up a little bit, jittery. Fully understandable. That's why they give you a little bit of leeway on some of these things, but at the same time, do everything that you can do to control that beforehand. Don't worry about things outside of your control. Worry about the things you can control. You can control being well rested. You can control taking care of yourself, being hydrated, and all that good stuff, and being as calm as you possibly can. Tip number 11, you want to make sure that you always get in and stay in the best shape of your life at all times. And this goes far beyond just passing a medical exam. When you think about this medical exam and getting your medical clearance, it's more to it than just numbers on a chart that you're trying to achieve, whether it comes to your physical, your vision, or your hearing. There's a huge safety issue at here, and you want to make sure that you're always in the best shape of your life and you're doing everything that you can. You're eating right, you're eating clean, you're working out, you're doing all those things simply because you know it's going to help keep you safe in the sky. And not only you safe, but all passengers that fly with you throughout your entire pilot journey. You have your family with you. You want your family to feel secure. You have anybody flying with you. You want them to look over at a fit pilot and think to themselves, everything is going to be all right. Because not only do you have the knowledge, do you have the skills, you're fit and you're physically ready to tackle anything that comes along the lines. This is why it goes far beyond just passing, barely grazing over the medical bar so you can actually get the medical certificate. Be in the best shape of your life. Stay in the best shape of your life. We all have challenges in life, but if you can focus on doing this and having the discipline to do this, it can be very rewarding for you throughout not only being a pilot, but pretty much anything that you desire to do in life. Run it! Your medical exam, 11 tips on how to easily pass that thing. Subscribe to the channel one time.